Hey, what's up, guys? You ever been watching TV or radio and all of a sudden you hear a commercial that's like, you should buy gold, call 1-800-GOLD-LINE. I don't really know if Gold Line's actually a company or not, but maybe it is. But you've probably heard one of those commercials, right? And then you stop and ask and you're like, is gold actually even a good investment? And when I was a kid, I used to think gold and silver were good investments. Using the thinking they're stores of value. They've been around for all of history, so they have to be valuable, right? Heck, we used to be on the gold standard, for goodness sake, so wouldn't they be good investments? And in actuality, the answer is no. Take a look at this chart of gold, and if you look at it from 1950 to today, you see what seems like an incredible appreciation in price. As a matter of fact, it's a 50-to-1 return. That sounds like an amazing investment, right? Until you actually look at another chart. And this chart is a chart of the S&P 500, the index of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the United States. And when you do the math and look at this chart, what you actually find is that it's a 165-to-1 return in capital appreciation alone. It's pretty important that you say capital appreciation alone. Now, somebody's probably gonna want to get into the weeds on this and say something about, yeah, but gold was fixed at $35 per ounce until 1971 and blah, 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 blah. And they would be true. Gold was fixed at $35 per ounce until around the early 1970s. But what I haven't accounted for in these charts that I've shown you so far, especially mainly in the S&P 500 chart, is the dividends that were paid by the S&P 500 quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter. And when we account for those dividends, the difference in performance between the S&P 500, which is an index of companies, versus gold start to deviate drastically, to the point that gold really does not look like a very good investment. And why is this? When I discovered this, when I was researching as a kid, gold, and if gold was a good investment, and I found out that gold actually really wasn't that good of an investment, I was perplexed. I had always heard gold was a store of value. And from that, it's pretty easy to conclude if it's a store of value, then wouldn't it be a good investment? But the answer to this lies in where gold gets its value from. And if you're a student of Warren Buffett, as I am, because Warren Buffett is probably the greatest investor to have ever lived, then you start to see why and where gold gets its value from. As a matter of fact, here's Buffett himself explaining where gold gets its value from.
The second category of investments regard items that you buy that don't produce anything, but that you hope someone will pay you more for later on. And the classic case of that is gold.
You see, gold gets its value from the possibility that someone else might be willing to pay more for the ounce of gold than what you bought it for. Yes, you could talk about scarcity and perhaps maybe some of its small utility that it provides in modern applications, because a lot of devices in modern society now require some gold in their components in order to operate. But primarily, gold gets its value from the possibility or the idea that somebody else might be willing to pay more for it than you did. It doesn't actually produce anything. It just sits there. But okay, so if gold only gets its value from somebody else maybe willing to pay more than you did for it, why then is the S&P 500 such a better investment, or something like that? Why would that be a better investment? And the answer again lies in where it gets its value. Since the S&P 500 is a composition or an index of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the United States, it gets its value, or this index gets its value from those companies. And where the companies get their value from? the companies get their value from the products and services that they produce and sell. Many of these products and services are things that we are very familiar with. It could be Procter & Gamble soap, or it could be Apple computers, iPhones. It could even be the search engine that you're using to watch this video right now, YouTube, which is owned by Alphabet, i.e. Google. All of those companies are components of the S&P 500. And what makes it so valuable is that even if somebody wasn't willing to buy the shares of the companies that you have when you buy this index, you could just hold on to it, and it would pay you a dividend quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, meaning you would still be making money just because you owned it. Contrast that with gold, where gold doesn't pay anything out. You could hold gold until your face turns blue, but if there's not somebody willing to pay you more, you're not going to make any money. So when I found this out, this was changing for me as an investor. It actually started me on the track to becoming a very good investor. And this is probably because it turns out that the greatest legends of investing view their investments this way. That's Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, Sam Zell, and the list can continue on. They view investments as assets, and they view the value of those assets based on what those assets produce. And you might not be right in the short run, but as long as you keep that in mind, that they're based on what they produce, over the long run, you will have dramatic results. Keep this in mind when you're out looking for investments, and I hope this video provided some value. If it did, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm on my YouTube journey trying to make these videos better and better all the time, so if you want to ride along with me on this YouTube journey, I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate your support with a subscribe and a like. And if you think it sucks, that's fine. Hit the hit the down button. But I'm going to keep making these videos either way, and I'll see you in the next one.